What were your thoughts or opinions about today's show?
My thoughts on today's show, I thought it was really fun. I definitely like the times when we can just talk about current events and what's going on right now in the news, because I know I like to go and talk to my friends about it, so it's fun to come on air and just hash out all the crazy, funny things that go on in the news, and some serious things too.
What's your opinion on the Curtis Rivas movie shooting?
My opinion on the Curtis Rivas or Reeves movie shooting is I think it if as just the state of Florida, we don't realize that we need to do something about our gun laws. If the Zimmerman case didn't make us realize that, if the Jordan Dunn case didn't make us realize that, I think Jordan Dunn. I hope I'm remembering his last name right. But if those cases didn't make us realize that we need to do something about our gun laws, I hope this case does. That there needs to be something done about mental health and how mental health affects your right to be able to hold a gun or carry a gun, have a concealed weapon, where you should have concealed weapons, whether they are in movie theaters, whether they're in your car when you're doing neighborhood watch, or what have you. I think it just really shows that we really, not just the state of Florida, but just the nation as a whole, we really need to get our gun laws together and get some uniformity. And yeah.
What's your opinion on stand your ground being put back in court?
I think stand your ground is a very interesting law. It's a very interesting aspect of the law. Just as a law student or as a recent graduate of law school, I know I was in my last year of law school when the Trayvon Martin issue happened, when stand your ground really popped up and it was really a big deal, because I think the changes to the stand your ground law and the Castle Doctrine and the self-defense laws actually happened at around 2005, 2006. So it's been going on, but I was in law school, when it really popped up and was really a hot button topic and a hot button issue. So I'm glad that people know more about the law. I wish a lot more people would understand that if you really want to see active changes happen to the law, that's a legislative issue, and that's something that you can actually do if you go out and you write, the governor, if you write Governor Rick Scott, if you talk to your mayor, if you just get involved in the legislative process. And so I'm glad that, I hate the circumstances that it keeps coming up. I hate that people have to die before folks are interested in the law. But I think the silver lining, if there is any, would be that people are understanding that the judicial system is not the place where you can go to change the law. That's actually the legislative system, and that people are becoming more active in that aspect.
What's your opinion on George Zimmerman versus DMX?
I am very upset about the George Zimmerman and DMX. I don't want calling it a celebrity fight, because it's not a celebrity fight. George Zimmerman is not a celebrity. He's a person who took the life of a young child. Whether people believe it was justified or not, he still is someone who took a life from someone. So I don't think it's okay for him to be in any way celebrated or in any way on TV doing anything other than being very mournful for what happened to Trayvon Martin. So I wasn't a proponent, and I honestly don't really like talking about it, because I feel like a lot of the publicity and a lot of people want. I feel like he likes to be in the news and he likes to be the center of conversation and the topic of conversation. So I really don't like giving it too much light. But I'm glad that it's canceled and it's not going forward.
What's your opinion on teacher arrest for sexual assault?
The teacher being arrested for sexual assault, that was extremely disturbing for me. A lot of my background is I do a lot of child advocacy work. That's what I did when I was in law school. I deal with a lot of kids in dependency issues and delinquency issues. So child advocacy has always been something I'm very passionate about. So it always makes me upset to see any time where a kid has been taken advantage of or has been abused in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So I think it's interesting. An interesting aspect to it is that she used the YouTube to be a medium to kind of have her voice heard, or to kind of vindicate, I don't know if vindicate's the right word, but to kind of shed light to what happened to her when she was younger. So I think that brings an interesting twist to the normal child abuse situations. But I'm glad that she brought light to it. I'm glad this woman who does have an issue with abusing young children is no longer in a school setting where she can do that again. Hopefully she can't do that again now that she's not in a school setting.
What's your opinion on the 81-year-old woman being thrown in jail after she was arrested for feeding dog food to bears?
The 81-year-old woman who was feeding dog food to the bears and got arrested. That I write recreationally. I'm not a writer by any means, but I like writing. I like reading articles. I think one of the funniest things that happens nowadays is a lot of people want clicks on their websites. So they come up with these crazy headlines to what a story is. And you're looking at it like, what in the world? This is crazy. How can this happen? And you go click on it because that's what they want. They want the traffic to their site. So when I was definitely a victim of it. I saw when DT emailed, lady gets arrested for feeding dog food to bears. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. What's going on? But I click on it and I see what's actually going on, that the lady wasn't just feeding, she didn't just toss the bear some dog food on one occasion. She'd been doing this for a long, extended period of time and was actually endangering herself and the people around her by feeding the bears and letting them come to her house and desensitizing the bears, I guess, to people, human interaction. So you kind of understand why she was arrested, because I think she had plenty warnings on why she shouldn't feed the bears and what was going to happen if she continued. So I thought it's not funny, because it's not funny when people are arrested, and she does have like a sick husband, so that's not funny at all. But I did think it was a little interesting, seeing the comparison between the headline and what actually happened in the actual story. So,
what's your opinion on CVS to stop selling cigarettes?
What's funny about the CVS is no longer selling cigarettes in their stores. I think they're going to stop by October. And I think what's funny about it is I never realized that it is kind of weird for a place that has a pharmacy, or a healthcare facility, would also sell cigarettes. And I never thought about that until I read the article. So I thought that was interesting, that I never felt there's anything wrong with CVS or Walgreens or Walmart selling cigarettes when they have a pharmacy and a healthcare place. But I think it's a good thing. I don't really necessarily see anything bad to come from it. I think that's perfectly fine. I feel like a lot of people probably should do that. I think San Francisco, I was reading, actually has a ban on they don't allow a place with an attached pharmacy to sell cigarettes or any tobacco products. So I think that I read that, I think Times or New York Times or something like that. So I think that's a good way to go. I feel like if you have a healthcare facility, you probably shouldn't sell cigarettes. It's probably a little counterproductive.
What's your opinion on Attorney General Eric Holder orders equal treatment for married same-sex couples?
Eric Holder, who is the Attorney General, he did. I don't want to misquote or summarize this in a way that's misleading or wrong, but I know that he issued that his employees of the Justice Department would afford same-sex couples the same rights as heterosexual couples. I think that's what actually happened, but I think it's about time. I don't understand why people of same sex shouldn't be afforded the same rights that anybody else should be afforded if they are married. I feel like they should be able to visit each other in jails. I know that was one of the things that they were afforded. I guess before, maybe they weren't allowed to have visitation under being a spouse. They weren't allowed to make medical decisions. There are a lot of things that they were afforded that they weren't able to do before, and I don't understand why why that hasn't happened a long time ago. I feel however you feel about people being gay, whether you think it's a sin, whether it's religious reasons, whether you just don't understand it, I feel like that's fine, but I don't think that should spread into people's constitutional rights. And that's the real issue, and I don't see there's anything different than that. Whatever your religious views are, whatever your personal views are, I think that's something that you can keep, for yourself. But I feel like when you take that and try to restrict someone's constitutional rights, I feel like that there's no place for that. So, I think it was about time, and I'm glad that it happened. I know I'm a little long-winded.